Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Alt Kings podcast. I'm your host Tate, and today I am welcoming back Legends of the Past and their founder Basile. How you doing today, Basile?
I'm doing great, and well, congrats because you are, I think, one of the only person on Hedera that pronounced my name correctly. So, kudos to you. But yeah, I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure as always, and I'm happy that I pronounced your name. I always try to practice pronouncing some of these unique names in the space and make sure I have it spot on for the show. And yeah, it's quite exciting that I got it right. So, if
Yeah,
you didn't already know, ladies and gentlemen, tuning in, Legends of the Past is a 3D multiplayer game with reimagined historical legends, epic battles across the history verse where past, present, and future collide. We've hosted Basile in the past, as I've mentioned. If you want more details, you can click on that link down below in the description to find out more. But, Basile, how has Legends of the Past evolved since our last podcast, and what new features or developments have been introduced?
I'm gonna answer like the hard work, meaning the architecture, the implementation of the multiplayer, the server, and the network to optimize everything. And I mean it when I say the hard work, because like people usually in Web3 because we are also like engaging with our communities, and so we like to showcase polished visuals like a 2D, 3D environment with good lighting. Sometimes it's not the game engine, but like in Blender or whatsoever. But the hard work to have a good game is programming and to have something that is efficient. So, like overall, since last time we talked, we spent a lot of time with our programmers on the implementation of the multiplayer, and the overall architecture relies on that. And so we've made
Yeah.
tremendous headway in that. So now we are very happy. It's not perfect there. We still have some bugs sometimes. Well, I'm not going to go into detail, but like sometimes we still have some bugs. But overall, it works and we can have multiple sessions with multiple players playing at the same time. So yeah, a lot of effort on the multiplayer and the co-programming of the project, but also a lot of implementation also about the level design and our different arenas, because in our game you'll be moving into like different arenas, sometimes backward into like futuristic arenas, sometimes forward, sorry, in futuristic arenas, or sometimes like backwards, all the way to Jurassic era. It's one of our arenas that is very fun. So yeah, so some level design, meaning putting the asset at the right and the obstacles of the arena at the proper location based on the game design documentation, which is the overall document that sets down the rules of your game. So a lot of work on, yeah, so basically the game itself. So before that, we had a lot of documentation of what we wanted to achieve, but we implemented that. And so now, yeah, we are very happy. And as I told you, we're very happy with how our game starts to feel, not only look, because looks are great, but feel. And what's in terms of retention, we are starting to get something fresh, something unique, in which after each game you want to play again. Okay, I missed. I don't like that feeling, because in our game it's a mix between competition between players, but we also have implemented some very like unique aspect, which is cooperation. What does this mean is, in our game, basically you have to collect some keys on the battlefield. Those keys, when you have enough keys, you have access to a portal, and that portal will teleport all of the players on the arena into another historical setting. And about that, what's interesting, sorry, I just cut myself. I, I just lost myself, sorry, in the while I was speaking.
We were just talking about what new features and developments have been really introduced, and you were really highlighting the hard work that's went into all of the background and how it's not only about how the game looks, but it also is how the game feels.
Oh yeah,
And then
sorry.
you started to
The
dabble along with
okay,
that. Yeah.
sorry, because I saw a notification, and so I saw it on my computer, and then I said, okay, what I was speaking
Oh,
about.
good.
Sorry about that, and I got nervous afterwards and said, okay, I forgot. Anyway, so a lot of about those portals, about the mix between competition and cooperation. Sometimes you can find keys in the environment. Sometimes you can steal keys from other players. But as soon as one player have enough keys and activate the portal, all players are instantly teleported into another historical setting. That's where I was. And the thing is, the rest of the players, they will lose their keys, and that's very important, because suddenly, let's say that we are doing 1 versus 1, so 3 players. The player that activates the teleportal, when he does, he's the only one that has the highly coveted keys, and therefore other players that may not know each other, then suddenly they team up because they are against the guy that has the maximum keys. And so this is, in terms of game design, very important to have this tension between competition, but also sometimes cooperation. And we also have some legendary bosses where, again, player can team up against the boss, but then they can decide in the end to betray the other, because if they defeat and they stay the only one in the end, they'll have more rewards.
Nice. That's really cool, and I really like how it plays into the part of cooperation and competition, like you mentioned. And it's really cool because you don't really see that in many games where it might be a free for all where it's everybody against themselves. But now you're really seeing who can team up and conquer whoever has more or less total supply in that specific game mode. Does that make sense?
Exactly, because
Yeah.
we have some controls, the controls that are similar to some like Super Smash Bros. Or brawlers, like
Yeah.
typical mobile brawlers. So we have that aspect. But when our first game mode, we call it the history verse. This is this mode about going backward and forward with those portals when you have a mix between competition and cooperation. We started with this game mode first because, again, if you play Brawl Star, all of the brawlers they have the same, I would say, like free for all or different game mode. We wanted to create something, a tension that was different. We'll have regular game modes progressively, but the core gameplay is with this history verse.
Nice. Talking about games, you got a Discord event tomorrow. Tell me more about this event being held tomorrow in your Discord called Legends of Hedera, celebrating Hedera and its projects.
So cool. So again, this is something, okay, this is important for us. While we build our core project, Legend of the Past, we also want to reward our holders, our community members that have been supporting us since the beginning. And so couple of things. Our holders of our NFT, Clio, they have access to the Clio committee website, and all of this makes
Yeah.
sense. The ultimate utility is when we release the game, and or at least the first version of it. But while we built, we wanted them to experience this governance, this utility. And so a couple of weeks ago, we opened, a Clio committee website where our holders can have access, and they have started to govern their committee, meaning that they have elected Clio champions, so two champions, and we did a Discord game. I'm getting there with us, so two Clio champions against two of the team of Legend of the Past. And the thing is, luckily enough, two champions won the event. They won the Discord game, and therefore they earn a portion of the cash prize, but the rest of the Clio committee, so all of the holders, again, as a governance, they split, they share together based on their ownership within the committee, the remainder of the rewards. So that's the utility and governance that we are implementing while we are building. And so for that purpose, because again, our game is not ready to be playable for tournaments, for events, we are testing it internally, so it's fun, but it's not perfect polished to have tournaments for it. And so we liked Rumble Royale and those kind of Discord games, but we thought, okay, what can we do differently? And so we created our own version of Rumble Royale that we called now Legend of Hedera, because after testing it internally with our community and to emulate this governance and the HBAR rewards to our members, it's very fun to play because this game you are betting on legends on which are project on Hedera, and all of these projects have different attacks based on the lore and narrative of those of each project, and randomly, like in Rumble Royale, each project will launch and throw an attack based on different dealing some different damages, and in the end there is a winner. And since again this experience was very fun, we did the tournament against only 2 versus 2 to have the governance and to give away some rewards to our holders. But yeah, we wanted everyone to experience it. And we had done some sessions only with our Clio committee, so the members of our Clio committee. But since we were like celebrating Hedera's project, we created and we opened exceptionally tomorrow a version where different communities will be able to enter with their NFTs in order to just play this game. And other projects have generously offered some great prizes, such as some HBAR, framing for the Siwa, some whitelist as well, some NFTs from Earthlings. So a lot of projects are participating in that. So it's going to, and also some HST token from Headstarter as well. Okay, tomorrow is the first event, but we'll do more. And as I told you before the show, we'll invite you to the next one with pleasure.
Most definitely. Yeah, it seems quite exciting, and I can't wait to see the community turn out and make this event even stellar than you imagine it to be. I think it's great to always see all these communities coming together and donating NFTs as well, offering their donations just up for grabs to any of the community members out there. I have a question though about the Clio Champions tournament that was just held. So you said there was two captains pretty much. Were they both like so was it one captain for the Clio committee and then one for another committee outside of the Clio committee, or was it two separate Clio committee captains?
So it was two separate, because in the end, when we organize like we want to host, like when the game is live, and that's the tournaments
Yeah,
of the game, we'll have each legend of the game that are playable by everyone.
yeah,
Each legend have some committees. And so when we host the tournaments, when we launch the game, we intend on launching it with 3 to 5 legends at first. Progressively, with some DLC, we'll add additional legends throughout the months and years. But at first, we only start with, let's say, 4. Okay, so we'll have 4 committees. Each committee will elect some champions for the tournaments, and those champions are battling against each other. At the moment, the only legend that community members are aware of is Cleo. Okay,
yeah.
I almost said the second name. Anyway, okay, I have to be focused, but you'll know very soon enough. That's why, and we are pushing content towards that. But yeah, at first there were only one legend committee, Cleo one, and so the Clio committee elected 2 champions for themselves. And since we don't have another committee at the moment, we created like a fake committee, which was the team of Legend of the Past, as a way to emulate this governance. But now I'm moving to the
Gotcha.
next subject. We are about to announce our second legend, and in the following days, actually, we'll be able to see her soon enough. And it's a different archetype from our original legend. And so you may have guessed it, we'll also open the first seats, not the entire committee, but the first seats of the second legend committee, same soon enough. And like this, we'll have 2 proper committees that are battling against each other. And there will be no need to have us as the competitor.
That's a great point. And yeah, that definitely cleared up everything that I was curious about. I can't wait to see what this next character is. I know you're not going to tease anything about it yet, but I think you already did a little bit. You said she, so it might be a female. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. And so I can also show you like 2 hints that we already shared. Is she has a
Yeah.
paintball gun, and she's also okay. I can give you like 3 hints. First one is she's an artist. Second hint is she has a paintball gun. That's really it's not only appealing, but like all of our legends, they all have what we call a glitch, something different from their historical counterpart. It has to be appealing and engaging for players, but more importantly, it has to be in line with our gameplay, with our archetype. For instance, Cleo is a fighter. That's her archetype. And our second legend is a range character, a shooter, shooting from distance. So she's using her paintball gun. But she also have a unique ability, and this unique ability is to summon some very cute but devastating splashy. And those splashy, if you and you people will understand progressively, but those splashies are actually some paints. Like when, oof, I almost said it. When she's shooting with her gun, progressively she will summon a splash unit with her paintball gun.
Plenty of teasers there. I think people are going to be amped up after hearing that. What has been the most difficult hurdle that you've overcome so far since our previous conversation, and how did you learn from it? Obviously, any mistake that anyone makes in their life, they obviously there's a lesson, whether or not they learn from it or not, to be learned. Is there anything that you've overcome so far?
A ton. Okay. Funny thing is, today is very important day. We are the 26th March while we are recording this video. And I noticed earlier today that literally 5 years ago, I met Neil. Neil is the CTO and co-founder of our gaming studio. So I DM'd him literally 5 years ago, based on a mutual friend, because I was building on Unity at the beginning, and I wanted to get familiar with others, people who were building on Unity. And so I reached out to him. Okay, I'm not answering your question. I will answer right after, but I just remember right now. And we started building together 5 years ago. And over the year, like literally, because the day we met after that original DM, we had a beer where I was with my laptop. I showed him my prototype, what I was building myself on Unity, plus some document, like a very ugly PowerPoint presentation of the intention that I had for a game, not Legend of the Past, our previous game that we were building prior to that.
Sure.
And over the last 5 years, we've overcame so many hurdles, whether it be like related to the project, whether it be relative to hiring people, whether it be relative to a company, because we're not a project, we are an incorporated company in Paris, France. So you have a lot of like legislation, tax, doing accountable. I don't know the name in English, but okay. Anyway, a lot of legal stuff to handle. And so to answer your question, since
Definitely.
last time we spoke, let me see an angle, because honestly, it's like being an entrepreneur, everyone wants to be successful and stuff, but it's really like highs and lows every day. Like every day. Sometimes you are so happy because you are seeing, for instance, myself, a new concept of a new arena. I will see like that Neil, for instance, let's not say the name, but recently Neil and our second programmer, they fixed the shooting, what's the name? The shooting line, okay, of our second legend. Now it's more in line with the animation. And so when I see this and the animation, it's perfect. It's bouncing perfectly. When I see stuff like that, gives me so much motivation. But what's important for us, and so you have highs with the project, but you have lows because it's stressful, to be honest. Building a game, especially the game that we want to build, takes so much time, money, because it's highly expensive. We are very happy to have very skilled team members who have tremendous gaming experience at various leading gaming studio, but obviously they have a salary that we need to pay for. And so handling like the company and how to pay the bill, how to handle everything, sometimes it's very difficult. But
Yeah.
it's really important to have, and that's how I manage to have a good mental health, is having a very strong team, because no matter what happens to us, we always find a solution. And when I say team, I'm here thinking of 2%. First one is Neil, again, that I met 5 years ago, the CTO programmer, but also recently, which is 2 years ago, our creative art director, but also creative director. His name is Kim, and he's the one, honestly, that put our studio into a next level, because prior to that, we were building educational games for schools in France, basically. But now that we have Kim with a tremendous experience, he's helped a lot in designing the game, obviously the game design, the art, and also hiring some of his former friends and colleagues at his various studios. And so having him on board is amazing for the studio, but also as a human, as a person. And the three of us, we are making a very complementary team. We are all like, I'm doing the business, Neil is handling the programming, and Kim is handling the art, pretty much, if I summarize it like this. But we are all problem solver, because for instance, when we have some issues and we have some thought about what we want to do, how we can integrate NFTs in the game without becoming a Ponzi scheme, I'll say it because it's really important. And over the last 2 years, we've seen so many projects raised a lot of money through NFT tokens or with VCs, but then tremendously fail because they did not do the thing the right way. So we are always cautious about what we're doing. I think I just went sideways to your original questions, because I don't have an example that comes from the top of my head of one major hurdle, but honestly, every day, no matter what the trouble.
Makes sense. No, you definitely explained that really well, even without not having one right off the top of your head. I think that life as an entrepreneur is definitely the roller coaster effect. You have your highs and your lows, as like you mentioned yourself. And what I'm curious about now, you really highlighted and emphasized the most about having a team and cultivating that. What does it take to cultivate the proper team? To find the people to fill the right roles and to make sure that they're meeting your standards and staying up to par with what you're looking for in that specific position. Have you ever had to release somebody from the team because they haven't held that standard that you hold for yourself as well as your partners building this out, or what is it like finding these people?
Honestly, it's very difficult. I would say it's based on,
It is.
honestly, luck is a really important part of the process, because it's like you need to have, but it's a French expression. Sometimes you can like force luck, like by trying and trying. Okay, I'm going to give you a good example. For instance, Kim, our creative director, so has been full time with us since a little bit less than 2 years already. And before him, because like we wanted to hire, and we had the budget to hire a good, talented art director. So we reached out and we had hundreds of interviews with different person, like in France, in Europe, in different like continents. And but we were like very negative, not negative the right way, but like cautious. And we said no to tons of talents that were looked promising, that looked like amazing, and they have the amazing experience. But the bottom line is the human fit. And for instance, again with Kim, it took us 4 months to actually hire him full time. And this is one of the lessons that we learned from our previous experience. Again, I've been working with Neil for the last 5 years. And so with the first game that we are building, the educational games, we had a team of 10 person working for us. But progressively, I learned that some team members were very efficient and very skilled in their work, but we hired maybe like too fast because we wanted to have someone say, okay, that person is good. We can see his portfolio. He's a match with what we want to do. Let's move forward. But sometimes, and I'm speaking about previous experience here, is sometimes the person himself or herself is not in line with the values of the studio, with the vision, with what we want to achieve. And yeah. And so and again, I'm very lucky because aside from the gaming experience of Kim, as a human, the trio of us, we work very well together collectively. We are finding solutions. We don't have ego in terms of we want to have the
It's
best
good.
solutions or want to be the one to decide. No, we are always thinking of the company like mission, what we want to achieve and what's best for the project. Sometimes, okay, I'm not going to go into too much detail for here, but like we've had some opportunities that could have generated much more money in terms of NFT sales or other partnerships elsewhere. But we refused them. And that was like, again, difficult because we don't have 10 million, US dollar in terms of budget. So no, it was difficult, but we turned down those opportunities because it was better in the long run for the project. And so sometimes for those difficult decisions, because it's always difficult to turn down money, we've done that because we thought about it and we said, okay, it's better for the project. We all agree on that. Let's move forward. And so sometimes you could have a team member that's not in line with those discussions. So yeah, I'm going to say something that is a bit naive, but the bottom line is the human aspect and yeah, working together. And I would just add something else to that is I think it's important that when we are, because we have a lot of team members that, okay, for instance, some of them, we haven't met them physically. But to me, the core team of the project needs to be like friend. For instance, I
Yeah.
can call Neil and Kim no matter what time on any aspect, and I'm very like open with my personal life as friends. So that again, I can rely on them, they can rely on me similarly. And so it's important in that work because, well, again, I was working with Neil for 5 years and we spent a lot of time like together, living almost together, like during the pandemic. Like we literally lived and spent 3 months living together under the same roof. But also with Kim, we when we hired him, like Kim is not working in Paris, he's working in Lille, in the north of France. So now that we're like fully quarantined, we're working fully like remote. But at first, we spent a lot of time together where he was coming in Paris a couple of weeks. We also went to him in Lille last year as well. And getting to know someone, yeah, and the personal relationship is very, I would say, like important in order to have a professional relationship. At least from my point of view as a gaming studio, where you need again to solve issues and to update your project on a daily basis, that's really important to me. But and what helped us is to have to be friends. Yeah, let's just say it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point. You see that a lot across the industry, especially in Web3. You have these people who come together that may be friends out the gates prior to starting their own company on Web3 or just a company in general. And they're friends out the gates, or they're not, and they meet each other along the road and they have the exact same vision for whatever they're envisioning to create. And so you have to have that bond where it's like you're almost brothers or brothers and sisters or whatever it may be. You got to be super interlocked and connected where you know that you'll both have each other's back, or however many people are a part of the company out the gates. You'll know that you all will have each other's back. You'll do whatever it takes to make sure that this succeeds. And if it doesn't, you'll figure out ways to fix things that go wrong. And
Exactly.
having those things work and align properly all comes down to communication. Clear, concise communication will really pave your path forward in the right direction. And I think you have it here from what it seems. And coming to hire people within the industry, it can be a tricky thing. And I've personally experienced it as well, just trying to look for people to hire for my own company. You have to really weave in and out of the bushes because you can find these bad actors who just want to exploit you just for money and try to get as much out of you as possible and not necessarily put forth the proper work that actually sees the vision that you're seeing yourself. And then also you can find the people who more or less come out of thin air. Maybe it's happened with you and your partners, how you just found them randomly and it was more or less a miracle. But I can definitely say that for my case that I found my partner Mark Mello through the first collection I ever released on Hedera. It was just Hedera crown. They were called Hedera crowns. They're pixelated crowns. There wasn't really any utility that I had thought in the moment to bring to these out of just a creative, inspirational thing that I thought was of sentimental value for Hedera. He bought these, he joined the server, he started interacting with me. Next thing, one thing leads to another. We're 2 years down the road now, and
Yeah,
things couldn't be better. I'll be honest with that. But it literally all came down to I would have never met him if he didn't join our server. So it's just that one click that he took, and then for
exactly,
him to
exactly.
engage,
That's amazing.
that said it all. And
And
it's like one in a billion.
exactly. And okay, let me go back a little bit on what I said. So I said, for instance, I'm lucky because I met Neil and Kim. We spent a lot of time physically. So yeah, that created that bond.
Yeah.
But there are so many examples, and that's what's amazing with Web3 of team members that never saw each other. And I experienced it as well. For instance, with the people in our Discord, both the community members, but we also have moderators, people that are actively helping, answering questions. And so I've had some calls with them, but like some others I haven't. I just noticed it. Oh, I never had on the call, but I speak to him on a daily basis, and I feel close to him. Like I'm sharing pictures, so I'm sharing pictures of where I live, what I do, stuff like that on my own personal
Yeah.
life, and think, okay, I never heard his or her voice, see him or her face, but that's okay. And that's why I wanted to go back a little bit. And that's the beautiness of Web3 is that's also a new way of communication and discussion and professional relationships. And you don't need, and okay, I just said two opposite things, but you can also create very strong projects and companies with people that never saw each other. And that's amazing. And that could not
Yeah.
work in other realms.
Definitely. Text can go a long way as well. And if you're not able to actually meet each other in person as well, just having some sort of communication on a regular basis with whoever you're building something
Yeah,
with goes a long way. Just communication in general on a consistent basis will really pave your path forward as long as you're devoting it to communicate properly towards the right things. You can't just be talking about the soccer game that happened last night. No, it's got to be dedicated, devoted, focused work and communication. And if you can do that, you can really go a long way.
exactly.
I mean, we see it here with you.
Absolutely. And the moment you meet that person in real life, it changes everything. So we're not a team member per se. But I'm very friend with Tudor from Headstarters. We've been discussing a lot and
Yeah.
having a lot of meetings, yeah, for the last 2 years. And like in December, I met him in Dubai because he invited us to
Nice.
a global blockchain congress there. And I was there. And so like the first time I met him, like he's so tall that it was, yeah, surprising. It's okay. We've been chatting and having video meeting for the last 2 years, but then when you see the first person in real life, you already have that connection, and seeing him, it
Yeah.
triggers something. Well, to me, it did trigger something. That was, yeah, great moment.
Couldn't agree more. It's always a great moment meeting all the age barbarians out there, especially if you've cultivated some sort of connection with them over Twitter, Discord, whatever it may be. It's very satisfying, that's for sure. But I'd love to know now, outside of what it takes to cultivate the right team and what it takes to network and communicate properly. Has the community influenced or community feedback, has that influenced the direction focus of Legends of the Past in the past few months or in general at all? Have you taken community feedback and actually put it into play within the game
Within the game itself,
or just in general?
yeah, in general, well, we are always so yeah. I think two levels, both for the entire community where everyone can provide feedbacks, but also with the people that are more involved. For instance, I'm listening to everyone, but there are some like community members, well, with whom I also built relationship over the last year now, and yeah, all decisions sometimes I like to discuss with them, and so I like to have again some calls on the phone on Discord, no video whatsoever, just with like community members, just to have proper feedback or to discuss about others. Yes, a million less, like literally every day on all aspects about the company. I thought your question was about like the real like project and all of the implementation of everything. We want, and that's important for us. We want that progressively some of our legends will be elected from our community. We want our community to vote, and so that it will be the legend chosen and created by our community. But it's important for us also not to do things the right way. Each of our legends, for instance, needs to have a glitch that is in line with the the play style of the character. Now we have, I don't know if I said it already, but we have some tanks, we have some supporters, some support, some healers, some wizard, some fighters, some distance, which is like range characters, a whole variety of different archetype of combat video games. And so our legends need to be in line with that. So at least our first four legends, we chose them on our own to be able to make sure that our game is fun but also balanced. It needs to be like balanced so that we can play different characters and remain fun and not have one that is overpowered in comparison to the others. But progressively, of course. So I listen to the community every day on all aspects, in all directions, where the utility of the NFT, for instance, when we are organizing like those events and the game Legion of Hedera, tomorrow is for everyone, but when we are doing for the Clio community, we are very actively like listening to our community members on all the best ways to actually do it. And what's amazing with them is that they give us like, they reach out to me, they send me a Discord message. Okay, oh guys, I don't know if you saw, but you should do this and that. And I always listen to it. And all things, the website, everything is many feedbacks were implemented. And sometimes I feel sorry because, quick anecdote for the Legends of Hedera. So the attacks of the different projects are written by members of different projects. And so the first project that we did was with Dead Pixel. And so at first, I was the one who wrote the attack for the Pixel Ghost. And one of our community members, I'm not going to say his name because maybe he doesn't want, but he's very active in Dead Pixel community as well. And so he helped me. Maybe he will recognize himself here, but he helped me. I sent him the attack that I had. I went to bed because it was late. He's in a different time zone. But when I woke up, he had written amazingly attacks for Dead Pixel for the game. And so I copy and pasted and implemented it. And I did not even say thank you because I was tons of emails and all directions. So I did not say thank you. But a couple of hours later, he said, because the game was right after, he saw it, he played, and then he sent me a screenshot. Said, oh my God, you implemented it. And say, yeah, I forgot to say sorry. I apologize for that. I said, no, but I'm so happy you took into account. And so, so again, every day I have your daily examples. And also because
That makes me happy because it's nice. What were you gonna say though? By all means.
no worries. I was just going to say is, and to be honest, that's also why I love Web3 in comparison to traditional
Yeah.
games for myself. Because before that, honestly, we were on our own. Like when we were building games, it's only like our discussion internally. What should we do? I don't know. Whereas right now, when you're speaking with your community that are providing you feedback, it not may be the best solution, but you know that, well, they will like it. They will like it and say, okay, it's good. And so, that's why, honestly, that's the reason why I decided to get involved in Web3 gaming, and not because like we come from a gaming background. But what really motivated me at first was the concept, which is in opposition to video games, the video game industry. The traditional video game industry, the concept is you build the game for 5 years, no one knows, and then suddenly you drop like the teaser, and then the trailer, and then you release it. And before that, you have some internal testing, or you launch a soft launch of your version, like in Canada, just to test it in a small cohort of players to make sure that it's fun to play. But that's it. And this approach is like the old way, like in the movie industry as well. Whereas in the entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial mindset, you need to test and learn every day. When you're building like a SaaS, they are like the founder of LinkedIn, I forgot his name, he said something like very famous, that if you're happy with if your project looks good, it means that you have released too late, because you need to release your MVP. When you have something that is working, then you release it, you test it, you implemented it in order to have something amazing in the end. But in video games, that doesn't work, because if you release something that is not good looking and fun, and if it's buggy, obviously players are not going to like it and they will leave and they will not come back a second time. So that's why it was very difficult, to be honest with you, for me as a founder, because I was like, I like entrepreneurship. So I've listened to a lot of podcasts and books, and I've done master in that area alongside with big data. And not being able to implement it in our previous gaming, the same company, but the previous game that we were developing, that was difficult. So that's why I love Web3, because you have feedbacks from your community while you build, and you are building something that they actually want to play in the long run. So
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, feedback is vital, I think, for any Web3 community. And even if the feedback isn't up to par with your standards on how you want to create it, at least you have a new perspective and a new idea of somebody who's actually actively engaging in the community and has thought thoroughly about their idea and just wanted to pitch it to you. It's really nice to have those because it gives you different perspectives, different angles to approach, and just new ideologies that you could potentially recreate something off of, or just have it sitting in the background. Say, if there's a later time that comes and you maybe be able to implement it. It's just nice to receive feedback from all angles, take it in, and then whatever comes out from it, whatever is whatever comes out. And typically on your end, we can see it. Everybody continues to be pleased and pleased again.
Thank you. But I would just only say one thing is it's also important, at least for video games. I'm only speaking about that. Is also to push content at the right moment. Like sometimes
True.
I'm okay. I'm tired. I have a long day, and say, okay, I wish I could show the actual gameplay footage to our community. I know they will love it. I don't want to create fake hype and stuff, but I know that they will actually love what I show it to them. But the thing is, if you do that, people are excited and hype and they love it. But then what's next? They want something to release right after. And so again, as a company, it's important to have a plan of the
Yeah.
ultimate is to launch the game and to have players playing it. But before that, if you reveal everything too soon, everyone is hyped and you'll make much money by doing NFT sales and you get more funding. Or, I don't know. But the thing is, for your project itself, then you have this pressure of okay, I don't have anything else to show. I'm exactly here. So that's why we have a very sometimes difficult approach. Is that we are always months away from where we are. And so, for instance, recently, like in January, we showed some gameplay and we did a gameplay reveal of Clio because people had seen Clio in 2D, then in 3D. How was the 3D model? Then progressively discovering how she was engaging, and we showed some element of mobility, how she's behaving, how she is throwing punches against units, and like a small aspect of it, so that people can actually see something, and then say, okay, that's it. Is that the game? Obviously not. But the thing is, if we show exactly how the prototype looks like right now, you'll want to play it tomorrow, but then first you don't have any surprise, so you're not ready when the game is available. But also, you're then for us, you have a tremendous pressure because you don't because okay, if we change something, for instance, our second legends, if okay we want to go back and do something else, then you also have the pressure of people who could tell you, okay, let's not do it that way. So that's why it's really difficult because I want to have the community backs to make sure that it's in line with what they want. But on the other hand, is you cannot push, at least for video games, everything too fast because it's like a movie. You are building something that in the end you want to create something that is very powerful, and you will not release small parts of the movie and every 3 months to people. Yeah, you have trailers for that, stuff like that, obviously, but you cannot. Anyway, I got lost in my thoughts, but.
No, you're not. You didn't get lost at all. You're building suspense, you're building excitement, you're building just the overall awareness of what's to come because you always want to you don't necessarily always, but you want to have building blocks one by one and it continues to follow and the domino effect. Each domino falls and that's more or less an achievement unlocked. And that's how you're playing this out. You don't want to rush the process and release everything all at once. And then there's that and maybe there's issues, maybe there's not, but you just want to make sure the product is perfect to your liking and to everybody else's liking who plays it. You have a vision set out, and from what it seems, you want to stick to that vision and stick to your timeline and agenda. And so there's nothing wrong with that, Basile. Things take time, and you know it, and so do I. It's been a real pleasure being able to speak with you today, though, Basile, and I appreciate you taking the time to join me again. I'd love to ask, finally speaking, before we have any closing thoughts, what can we expect from Legends of the Past in the near future? Anything that you'd like to highlight?
um,
Or not necessarily highlight, but maybe just give a little tease or not necessarily even a tease, but just
yeah, sure.
anything, anything.
You will discover our second legend very soon, and with that, some gameplay video of this legend. So how it's a she, how she's battling. And okay, I say it here, our first two legends are female, so Clio for the first one and for the second one. But we have whole variety. It's not only female because I've seen some comments of people about that. Just saying it here. Sorry, it's getting late. But we're about yet to reveal some gameplay video of our second legend, so you will see how she's interacting. So we'll progressively discover, okay, that's how Clio is engaging. That's how the second one is engaging, progressively discovering it. And so two things, you will discover this legend. And with that, as I may have said it, we're also opening up our second legend committee. At least, a first aspect of it. We want to create something that is exclusive, something that is a bit unique to our holders, to have two independent committees so that they can actually battle against each other in tournaments. For the moment, with our small Discord game, Legend of Hedera, but progressively and soon enough, they'll be able to actually play Legend of the Past game with selected champions and the Legend Committee acting as shareholders of those two esports teams.
Nice. Quite exciting. Basile, thank you once again for joining me. And ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed today's content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All of Basile and Legend of the Past links will be linked down below. And we will see you all in the next episode. Peace.
Ready to transform your learning experience? Step into the future with the Learn to Earn platform on Hedera. Choose how you learn. Academic books in hard copy or NFT form. That's right, NFTs. Whether you prefer the traditional feel or a digital interactive journey, the choice is yours. Dive into the NFT, not just for the book, but for all the tools you need for success. Download the book, access tests, all within a seamless, immersive interface. Forget traditional logins. Simply scan the QR code, connect to our platform, and start your Learn to Earn journey. Pass your tests and watch your success turn into real rewards with Gcoin, our exclusive digital currency. Imagine learning at your own pace, acing exams, and reaping tangible benefits. It's not just education, it's a transformative journey towards success. Join the future of learning at gilmore-estates.net. Scan, learn, earn. It's that simple, and it's revolutionary.